What is up, everybody? What is up? What is up? Welcome. The time has arrived. It is once again time for WrestleMania predictions. WrestleMania is finally here after another year. By the way, welcome to the Super Grapple Bros podcast, a podcast about two brothers, former WWE employees. We talk about wrestling and video games. If you haven't guessed, this is the WrestleMania 35 and NXT TakeOver New York prediction show. It is unfortunately a solo show. Murpho, DMurph, the Brock Lesnar of the show, picking his limited dates. He is not here to do the predictions. He mailed in his predictions via satellite. We are going to be competing once again for that championship right back there, that WWE replica championship behind me. If you're on the audio version, it's behind me on the couch. It's DMurph's championship. He's had it for a while. I'm looking to take him down. He is not here to defend it. However, if you guys are interested, in addition to these predictions that we're providing, he did send in the predictions. He is hosting a WrestleMania party that I will be live streaming on this channel on twitch.tv/L_Murpho as a watch party / reaction stream. So that is going to happen all day during WrestleMania Sunday. We're going to go from the pre-show all the way straight through. We're going to marathon through it. Hopefully we will live and survive. Might need to take some energy drinks to get through it all, but we're going to give it a shot. We'll have some friends with us. Might just be on my cell phone. We might have some extra stuff, but there will be a stream. So if you want to watch and react to WrestleMania with us, feel free to tune in then. But anyway, this is, as I mentioned before, the prediction show. We're going to go through predictions for TakeOver New York, WrestleMania 35. We are skipping the weekly TV recap because all the prediction stuff is going to be, all that stuff's going to get talked about in the predictions. We've got a couple stuff for, in wrestling news, such as the G1 Supercard, the card for said Supercard, Lucha Underground news, a lot of quick hits, a couple of stuff in gaming. We still want to get to gaming, even though this is going to be primarily a wrestling-centric show. A couple games released. We've got news out of Sony. Borderlands 3 is finally coming, and it's an unfortunate story about people losing their jobs at EA. But let's go ahead. Let's get into it. Let's start predicting NXT TakeOver New York. We'll get to NXT TakeOver New York first, then we'll get into WrestleMania 35. I have the picks from DMurph. I do not have the reasoning why he made the picks. I can't really blame him, though, because we have 5 matches on TakeOver and then 14 matches on the card on WrestleMania. Now, I understand, for those of you who might be curious, that, we've got the 4 matches here, but there's still a SmackDown and a Raw to happen between now and WrestleMania. Matches might get added. Neither the tag titles have been stated to be defended on WrestleMania yet. We still don't know if John Cena or The Undertaker will be involved. So the way we're going to work things out here is, after this podcast, we will be putting our predictions, as we normally do, on my Discord server, the Murpho Discord server. You can join that by clicking on the show notes, checking out the channel page on Twitch, or looking in the video description on YouTube. Click that, join that server. We do our viewer predictions, where we always drop our predictions and then leave it up to you people, the viewers, the Super Grapple Bros community, to contribute your own predictions as well. If you are the best predictor among the viewers, you get shouted out in our review episode. Same thing if you beat DMurph for myself. What we're going to do is we're going to drop in our predictions that we talk about on the show here, that I'm going to talk about and mention DMurph's on the show here. And then what we'll do is any other matches that are announced between now and WrestleMania Sunday, because there will not be a Super Grapple Bros episode next weekend. We'll just be going straight into the WrestleMania live stream watch party. Any other matches that are announced between now and then, we will chat with one another, decide who's gonna take who, and we'll make predictions for those matches and put them on the Discord server, and those will count towards the total. And so right now we have 19 different matches. DMurph and I are similar on quite a bit, differ on quite a bit, and who knows if there's going to be even more. There could be as many as 22 matches on the weekend. So it's going to be crazy. And I also want to say, finally, now that I've gotten through my intro spiel, hello, and thank you for dropping by, Adam Ritt, for the show. If you guys do come by for the show on Twitch, twitch.tv/L_Murpho, I'm going to keep plugging it, keep on keeping on with the plugs. You guys can get involved in the live chat and join the conversation that we have on the podcast. So, NXT TakeOver New York, the first match that we believe will be happening will be the WWE United Kingdom Championship match between Pete Dunne and Walter. DMurph and myself both picked Walter. So I think we both believe Pete Dunne's held the championship for such a long time. I think he's closing in on 2 years as United Kingdom champion. And I think it's about time that Pete Dunne, if he does move up to the main roster, maybe he goes in the international superstar shakeup over to regular NXT, challenges for the NXT championship, or maybe he goes up to the main roster and starts causing havoc on SmackDown or Raw. But regardless, he's had the championship for a long, long time. He has nothing to prove. I don't think this record of his is ever going to get challenged. However, Walter is the future of WWE UK brand and potentially of WWE. He is the next big thing in that division, and he deserves that championship. He's going to win that championship. We're finally going to see Pete Dunne's long reign end, and then Pete Dunne probably gets called up. That's what DMurph and I are both thinking. Then we got the War Raiders defending against Aleister Black and Ricochet in an NXT Tag Team Championships match. DMurph and I both have the War Raiders. And that's simply because of the fact that Aleister Black and Ricochet are going to be... they're up on the main roster. They might even be challenging for the Raw Tag Team titles at WrestleMania. They are in a program with the Revival right now around the tag team titles. We don't know if either tag championships are going to be on the card. We hope so. If so, it'll likely be Aleister Black and Ricochet involved, and Aleister Black and Ricochet might actually win that match if they're involved. And because of that, we don't believe that they're going to defeat the War Raiders and be the NXT tag team champions going into WrestleMania. Then next up, we have Shayna Baszler versus Bianca Belair versus Kairi Sane versus Io Shirai in a fatal four-way match for the NXT Women's Championship. Shayna Baszler defending champion. This is our first difference here between who we think is going to win. DMurph has Bianca Belair. I went with a different pick, and I went with Io Shirai. We both agree that Shayna Baszler is going to lose this championship match. She's had the championship for a very long time. She is long overdue for a call-up. It's a shame that Ronda Rousey may be on her way out with the WWE for now, because it would be great to see Baszler and Rousey go at it. But I could totally see Baszler get involved in the main event at WrestleMania, potentially with the other four horsewomen of MMA, given what we know now about what might happen at WrestleMania, what WWE is thinking of ending WrestleMania on. And that'll be Baszler's call-up, potentially even Jessamine Duke and Marina Shafir's as well. And who knows what, and then I believe once Ronda maybe steps away for a little bit, Baszler will be the one to challenge and take on Becky Lynch. And could be the next Raw Women's Champion after that. So DMurph has Bianca Belair. I believe that's because she was made to look really, really good against Baszler in her first loss in NXT in the championship match of the last NXT TakeOver. And I can definitely see Belair winning, but I also just felt like I wanted to go with Io Shirai simply because of the fact that we're transitioning here from a heel champion to a face champion. We haven't had a face champion since Baszler, Sane had the championship against Baszler. I don't think Sane's winning simply because she's had the championship before, and she's kind of just been, I feel like, thrown in there for the sake that she's friends with Shirai and she has a history with Shayna Baszler. I feel like Belair and Shirai are the favorites. I'm just leaning more towards Shirai because Shirai, she won the most recent she was in the finals of the most recent Mae Young Classic. Toni Storm won the Mae Young Classic. And she really hasn't got a moment to shine quite yet. So we'll see. I feel like this can be Io Shirai's coming out moment since the Mae Young Classic. And I feel like Bianca Belair will immediately be her challenger and potentially take the championship from her relatively quickly. So DMurph has Belair. I've got Shirai. Up next, we have the Velveteen Dream versus Matt Riddle. Velveteen defending his North American Championship against Matt Riddle. DMurph has Matt Riddle winning, and I actually have Velveteen Dream successfully defending. A lot of people think, well, Velveteen Dream's probably going to get called up soon, but you got to think about this here. Think about what we were just talking about. Aleister Black and Ricochet, they've been called up. Shayna Baszler, probably going to get called up. We don't know what's going on with Johnny Gargano, but there's also the fact that Ciampa, before he got hurt, got called up. We had 4 more call-ups before then. How many more call-ups are we going to have, especially when the main roster has been handling these guys incredibly well? I feel like Dream he's still super young. This is his first championship match. He just won the championship, like, recently. And this, I believe, is his first defense. I believe Matt Riddle is going to definitely have a bright future and eventually win the North American Championship or the NXT Championship, but I don't think this is it for Dream. Unless they want to move Velveteen Dream up to an NXT Championship type rivalry, I don't think Dream's getting called up, and I think he's going to retain here. I could even potentially see a Velveteen Dream heel turn here where he uses dirty tactics to defeat Matt Riddle, because as I understand it, Matt Riddle is undefeated currently in NXT. So it could go either way, but I really think that, like, it's too soon to pull the trigger on Matt Riddle and too soon to let that championship off of Velveteen Dream. I could be wrong. I might be wrong. We will see. And then the final match, we've got the NXT Championship match, Johnny Gargano versus Adam Cole, baby. DMurph has Adam Cole, baby, but I actually decided to go with Johnny Gargano to differ from him. Adam Cole, DMurph, a lot of people think that Adam Cole's going to win the championship because they believe it's time to make Adam Cole the face of NXT, which it could very well be. And a lot of people are saying, well, Johnny's already been called up. Technically, he was going to get called up with Tommaso Ciampa. But then once Ciampa got hurt, I don't know if you've noticed, we have not seen Johnny Gargano on Raw or SmackDown in weeks. I think that's because I think the plan was always for Johnny Gargano to win this match against Tommaso Ciampa and finally win the NXT Championship. And in order to, what would be a better way to have Johnny overcoming the odds over just Tommaso than maybe overcoming the odds against a stacked deck of all 4 members of Undisputed Era trying to take the championship from him. I think they want to give Johnny Gargano his championship moment in the sun before he moves up to the main roster. And with the Ciampa injury, if they want to keep him and Ciampa together on the main roster and do something with them on the main roster, this injury of Ciampa gives Gargano time to win the championship, hold it for a while, maybe defend it at the next TakeOver, then lose it at TakeOver at SummerSlam, and then get a call-up at SummerSlam. Give him a little bit more time to breathe. Maybe give Aleister Black and Ricochet and these other NXT call-ups some time to shine and develop themselves, so that way the main roster isn't just flooded with call-ups. So, and I do believe Adam Cole is going to be an NXT champion. I still believe this is the year of Undisputed Era. I just don't think Adam Cole is going to win right now because he was kind of just thrown in there, and this was kind of Gargano's match to win from the onset. So I think they're just going to double down, stick with Johnny Gargano, let him win the championship, and then either at the next TakeOver or come SummerSlam, he will lose that championship to Adam Cole. And that's it for NXT TakeOver New York. Again, DMurph and I agree on Walter over Pete Dunne and War Raiders over Aleister Black and Ricochet. We differ on the women's title match. He has Bianca Belair, I have Io Shirai. We differ on the NXT North American Championship. He has Matt Riddle, I have Velveteen Dream. And we differ on the NXT Championship match. Johnny Gargano. He has Adam Cole, I have Johnny Gargano. And I believe, Adam Ritt, if I am not mistaken, it seems like you had all the same predictions as DMurph there. So, let's get into WrestleMania 35. Now, DMurph and I, you're going to notice, we start off with almost the exact same mindset. And then we have a bit of differing predictions in the middle. And then we get back on this in the same frame of mind towards the end. So, there's going to be plenty of, so long as I don't lose in just a flat out in a landslide, this could be a very interesting predictions stream or watch along party to check out to see who wins this predictions championship. This lovely thing behind me that should be around my shoulder or waist and not around the Brock Lesnar of the podcast DMurphs. But anyway, let's get into it. The women's battle royal match. I'm going to read off everybody who's in the match. Which is Asuka, Carmella, Naomi, Lana, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, Nikki Cross, Dana Brooke, Ruby Riott, Liv Morgan, Sarah Logan, Mickie James, and Zelina Vega. Now you might be thinking, wait, why is Asuka in that? It's because she lost the SmackDown Championship out of nowhere to Charlotte. Now, the belief in that is that because they want to have a moment with maybe 4 horsemen versus 4 horsewomen, and they want the show to end with Sasha Banks, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky Lynch all holding up all the women's championships, both the Raw and SmackDown and then the women's tag team championships to close out the show. Perhaps maybe Charlotte and Becky setting their differences aside in the triple threat match, main event. And Bayley and Sasha potentially coming out to help Becky and or Charlotte in a fight against the 4 horsewomen who might come and try and help out Ronda Rousey in the end. So I get it and I understand it. I think it'll make for a great moment. I just feel awful for Asuka because she was made to look so strong in defeating Becky Lynch, and then she middles around doing practically nothing, almost pretty much nothing for this with the SmackDown Women's Championship, and then loses it to Charlotte, and now she's in a battle royal. And I also feel bad for Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, and also I believe Naomi, who were involved in a number 1 contendership match, supposed to be in a number 1 contendership match on SmackDown that got canceled. Now they're all thrown in the battle royal too. So like, I feel bad for those ladies. They work their ass off. They're good at what they do. And I don't know if we needed this moment, but we'll see when everything plays out whether or not it's worth it. I'm reserving final judgment until we see how things work out. Adam, you say you're picking Shayna Baszler, but Shayna Baszler isn't announced yet, so hopefully she does get announced. So we'll see. Anyway, DMurph and I both have Asuka getting some shine in winning the Battle Royal as kind of a, we're sorry we made you lose drop the championship, a week and a half before the biggest show of the year. The Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal is next, and the following people are involved in the Battle Royal, and that is Braun Strowman, the SNL Special Correspondents, I believe they're being called, Colin Jost and Michael Che, Andrade, don't call him Cien Almas, Apollo Crews, Titus O'Neil, Tyler Breeze, Jinder Mahal, No Way Jose, Bobby Roode, Chad Gable, Kalisto, Grand Metalik, Lindsay Dorado, Bo Dallas, Curtis Axel, Heath Slater, Rhino, Victor Connor, Ali, who should be Mustafa Ali. I like Mustafa Ali a lot better than just Ali, but they're just calling him Ali now. Shelton Benjamin, Luke Gallows, Carl Anderson, Matt Hardy, Jeff Hardy, Otis Dozovich, and Tucker Knight, which they're just calling them Otis and Tucker now. It really bothers me when they get rid of last names for wrestlers. It's annoying to me. And EC3. So I don't think there's any doubt about this. I think it's going to be Braun Strowman. DMurph thinks so as well. Unless there's some sort of surprise person that we're not expecting gets involved. And Adam, right, you said that she could be a surprise. She could be. I'm just stating the fact. You're hedging your bets on somebody who's not officially in the match. Could be a surprise entrant, but we'll see. Then we've got Buddy Murphy versus Tony Nese for the Cruiserweight Championship match. DMurph has Buddy Murphy. I originally had Tony Nese, thinking maybe it's time for Buddy Murphy to relinquish the championship to somebody of Tony Nese's caliber, but I just don't see Tony Nese with the Cruiserweight Championship right now. And I just don't see anybody stopping Buddy Murphy. I think until they want to move Buddy Murphy somewhere to SmackDown or Raw, he's going to hold that championship until they have something new for him. And so I have originally was thinking Tony Nese to contradict with DMurph, but I just don't think this Buddy Murphy train's stopping at WrestleMania. I think it's going to keep on chugging along. Then we've got Bobby Lashley versus Finn Balor for the Intercontinental Championship. DMurph and I both have Finn Balor winning. I believe that Balor is going to... Lashley, they might play up for Raw this week that Balor had to pin Lio Rush in order to win the Intercontinental Championship match in the first place, and then had to pin Jinder Mahal in order to earn the shot at the Intercontinental Championship match, and they're probably going to play up to the fact that Bobby Lashley can't beat Finn Balor, and so we'll probably get Demon Balor, and Demon Balor will beat Bobby Lashley, because Demon Balor, you do not let Demon Balor lose. Then we got Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin. If it holds up in what is Kurt Angle's final match, a lot of people are hoping that The Undertaker or John Cena take Corbin's place, but we'll see. DMurph and I both have Kurt Angle because we don't see Kurt Angle losing in his final match. Then we got Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio in the U.S. Championship match, and we both actually have Samoa Joe retaining the championship. I think what's going to happen is we might get some kind of stuff with we're definitely going to get something involved with Dominic on the outside. But I think Rey is at the point of his career, he doesn't need championships. He doesn't really need to be winning championships. Joe can be doing great things to the U.S. title. And we also, I think if Dominic gets involved, because Joe might be a bully, it might be something to where like Joe, maybe Dominic does something post-match and helps save Rey. Because apparently Dominic is a trained professional wrestler, so this might be like our introduction to Dominic as like a character on WWE television, that maybe he'll go to NXT or something. We'll see. But we both have Joe retaining. Then we have AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. Now, this is one where I'm going out on a limb here. And this is mainly because I look at the end of the card and I see a lot of faces winning the big championship matches. So I feel like there needs to be some heel balancing out. And I could go, this could backfire on me big time. Because DMurph has AJ Styles. I actually have Randy Orton winning. And my reasoning is that we just need Randy Orton. Randy Orton and AJ Styles, I feel like they're both even. Although I lean more towards AJ Styles. This is me going out on a limb here. I feel like in order to we need to have some heels winning matches here on this show. And if you look at what we've been predicting so far, Asuka's a face, Braun Strowman's a face, Finn Balor's a face, Kurt Angle's a face. If let's say AJ Styles wins, that's 5. Let's say Roman wins, that's 6. Let's say Triple H wins, that's 7. Seth Rollins wins, that's 8. Kofi Kingston, that's 9. Becky Lynch, that's 10. And if The Miz wins, that's 11 out of the 14 matches you have faces winning. And I can't see that many faces winning matches at WrestleMania. So I had to look at the card and be like, I have to make some hard decisions and decide where heels could actually win to kind of have more faces win than heels on the show. I'm trying to think of this from a booker perspective, and this could be just completely off base. But I wanted to try and balance things out a little bit, but with more faces winning than heels. And so I saw this as an opportunity to where I can totally see Randy Orton defeating AJ Styles, and I don't think it would hurt Styles that much because it's Randy Orton. At the same time, I could definitely see AJ Styles winning this, and AJ Styles is yet to lose a match at WrestleMania. So this would be AJ Styles' first defeat if he loses. So the thing is, if they want to establish a streak with AJ Styles, they might let AJ Styles win. So this was, again, where I was very torn, and I made the decision because DMurph went with AJ Styles to eventually, as that be the tipping point for me to go with Randy Orton. Because I believe AJ he's beaten Shane McMahon, he's beaten Shinsuke Nakamura, and he's beaten Chris Jericho. So he's 3-0 at WrestleMania. Oh, he lost to Jericho at Mania. Okay, so he isn't undefeated. All right, so that makes me feel even more confident about Randy Orton. I thought he had beaten Jericho. I forgot that he had lost. But he's beaten Shinsuke, and he's beaten Shane McMahon. All right, so that makes me feel even better about my Randy Orton pick. So thank you, Adam Ritt, for calling that out. Then we have Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Beth Phoenix and Natalya versus the Iconics, which is Peyton Royce and Billie Kay versus Nia Jax and Tamina in a fatal four-way tag match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. Sasha Banks and Bayley are defending. DMurph has the Iconics, and while I completely would see the Iconics winning, and I would definitely be predicting the Iconics to win had SmackDown not happen. Had Charlotte not won the SmackDown Women's Championship on SmackDown, I would probably be going out on a limb and picking the Iconics too, but I'm actually going with Sasha Banks and Bayley retaining because I really do buy into the belief that they want the 4 horsewomen of wrestling, which is Sasha, Bayley, Charlotte, and Becky, to all be holding up championships, standing tall and strong at the end of WrestleMania 35 to close out the show. And in order to do that, Sasha and Bayley need to retain. So I'm sorry for the Iconics. Hopefully they will win the championship soon because I love those two, but tonight or that night, WrestleMania Sunday, is not their night. Then we've got Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. I don't think there's any question here. Roman's going over. DMurph and I both have Roman Reigns going over. I think Drew's going to make it a good match. It's going to be a brutal match. We might see a stipulation get added, and I think it's going to be a really good one because they're really putting some emotion into it. I loved the brawls they've been having. I love the viciousness of Drew McIntyre, but I think you do not. I think Roman now is definitely going over. Could Drew go over? Maybe, but Roman's the guy. Roman is the guy at WWE. He might not be in the main event right now, which I think it's the first time in like 4 or 5 years he hasn't been in the final match. But he's still the guy. So he's going to win his match at WrestleMania. I don't think Roman's losing this one. So, and DMurph agrees with me. Then we've got Shane McMahon versus The Miz in a Falls Count Everywhere match. Or Falls Count Anywhere, I think. I have everywhere written down, but it's the traditional stipulation is Falls Count Anywhere. DMurph has The Miz. This is another one where, just like with AJ Styles and Randy Orton, I was looking at it and thinking, we need to have more heels winning. And I feel like this is a place, because of the stipulation, that Shane McMahon can win. Shane could use dirty, underhanded tactics. And Adam Ritt mentions that he thinks Shane will jump off something and miss. Here's the thing. Shane McMahon's a heel now. Shane McMahon, when he jumped off stuff stupid, was to entertain and to please the crowd. So I don't think Shane McMahon's going to do any jumping off of stuff. I think he might tease it. I think he might do the coast to coast because it does a lot of damage. But I don't think he's going to be doing any like stupid elbow drops or stuff like that. And I see Shane McMahon actually winning this match and pissing off the crowd as claiming himself to be the best in the world. And I feel like The Miz is at a point to where I don't think it's not going to hurt him if he loses to Shane McMahon. This has been a really good program. Miz has been great for the last year and a half, 2 years. He's been doing wonderfully. I think it's going to be a good match, an entertaining match. I think Shane's going to pull it out, and we're going to get another heel victory in here. DMurph, however, does have The Miz going over and winning this match and coming out on top and being vindicated at the end of the show. Then we've got Triple H versus Batista in a no-holds-barred match. If Triple H loses, his in-ring career is over, which was a stipulation in a letter by Batista's lawyers given to Triple H. The Triple H cut a promo on Raw. And Triple H just said, you know what, fine, let's do it. I don't care, because if I can't beat you, I don't deserve to wrestle anymore. And DMurph and I, we both believe that Triple H is going to win this match. Dave Batista, he wanted to come back just for a program with Triple H. He never wanted to specifically go over. Batista seems to be the kind of guy who doesn't mind putting people over. Triple H hasn't had a win in WrestleMania, I believe, for a while. From what I can remember. So this gives Triple H a much needed win at the show of shows. I don't think his in-ring career is over, so I don't think he's going to lose because of that too. So yeah, all signs point to Triple H coming out on top in this one. Then we've got the trifecta. And DMurph and I think pretty much the whole wrestling world agrees how these are going down. We've got Brock Lesnar versus Seth Rollins for the Universal Championship. We both have Seth Rollins. Brock Lesnar, he doesn't need to have the championship anymore. Rollins has been on fire like crazy, like mad. It would be great to see him win the Universal Championship again and be the one to finally slay the beast, Brock Lesnar, in addition, and holding that honor alongside Roman Reigns. Then we... So Adam Ritt thinks that he's scared that Brock will win, but he'll go with Rollins. There is the chance that maybe we get one final turn from Dean Ambrose and he screws Seth Rollins on his way out. Or there could be a chance that maybe Dean Ambrose helps Seth Rollins on his way out to help Seth win. But I don't think there's going to be any interference involved. I think it's going to be a straight up match. And I think Seth Rollins is going to finally be the one who slays the beast out of those smaller gentlemen who have competed against Sir Brockathan Lesnardio. I don't even know where that name came up with. It just popped in my head and I used it. So there we go. Then we've got Daniel Bryan versus Kofi Kingston WWE Championship match. This is the match I want my prediction to be most right about more than anything. It is Kofi Mania, and Kofi Kingston better damn win this WWE Championship. He better do it. He deserves it. He's worked his ass off. I love Kofi. He's an amazing human being. He deserves this moment in the sun. He deserves a spotlight. I want Kofi with that WWE Championship, that hemp championship over his shoulder with Ian Woods holding him on their shoulders. That is the moment I want at WrestleMania this year. It needs to happen. I think it's going to happen. DMurph thinks so as well. We're both going with Kofi for the WWE Championship match. Now, here's the thing. Don't be surprised, by the way, if we don't think this is going to happen going into WrestleMania, though, this match. Because after Woods and E won their epic, what a gauntlet, by the way, on SmackDown between those two guys. Just Austin and E just killing it. All three of those guys always killing it. Mr. McMahon was caught afterwards backstage. He was leaving, asking, does this mean Kofi Kingston is going to WrestleMania? He said, yes, Kofi is going to WrestleMania. And he goes, who would think a B-plus player could defeat Daniel Bryan? So maybe he's going to say, okay, you're going to WrestleMania, but it's not for the WWE Championship. And then maybe Kofi has to do something like beat Rowan or beat somebody in a non-title match in order to then earn a shot at the WWE Championship. Almost mirroring Daniel Bryan, which is technically an amazing Daniel Bryan storyline in addition to a Kofi Kingston storyline. Because think about it. Daniel Bryan fought against the system so hard and had to defy the odds in order to win the WWE Championship. And then 5 years later, somebody else is in his shoes and he actually sides with the system, decides not to give the guy the opportunity, and tries to do everything he can to force that guy to go through what he had to go through, and then loses the championship in the way to somebody who had to go through the same things that he did to win the championship. It's almost like things going full circle for Daniel Bryan, WrestleMania 30 to WrestleMania 35. So it's a great storyline for Kofi, and it's a great story for Daniel Bryan. All I'm saying is, it's not, I don't believe it's, don't be surprised if there's some more shenanigans going on at SmackDown and WrestleMania between these two. But DMurph and I, we both believe that match is going to happen. We both have Kofi Kingston winning. It is going to happen. We're getting Kofi Mania. But after Kofi Mania, we've still got one more match that's got to go on to close the night. The first ever main event, last show to go on in the history of WrestleMania involving female wrestlers in a match. And it's going to be a good triple threat match for the Raw Women's Championship. Ronda Rousey defending against Becky Lynch and SmackDown Women's Champion Charlotte. And I don't think there's any doubt about it. Becky Lynch is going to win. That's who DMurph and I both have. We're going to get, as we said, Charlotte's got that SmackDown Women's Championship. I think maybe it'll be something to where, like, they're going to fight and scratch and claw. Ronda might finally realize through the storytelling of the match that she can't beat Becky, or maybe she can't beat Charlotte. So the 4 horsewomen come out to beat down on Becky and Charlotte. They take out Charlotte. They're about to take out Becky. Here comes Sasha and Bayley to save the day. Becky gets Ronda in the center of the ring, gets her in the disarmor. Ronda taps out. Charlotte, Bayley and Sasha run into the ring, celebrate with her with their championships. Charlotte comes into the middle of the ring. They're staring at each other. They're looking like they're gonna like go after one another. They're jaw jacking, and Charlotte and Becky embrace and hug. And then and she says, "You deserve it. It's fine. I've got my own championship. This is our moment." All 4 horsewomen raise their arms together. They've all got the championships. Scene. That's WrestleMania 35. And that's it. That's how I believe WrestleMania 35 is going to come to a close. I believe that's how everybody feels WrestleMania 35 is going to come to a close. So to go back over the 14 matches, because I'm not going to go over TakeOver again. To go over the 14 matches at WrestleMania 35, and again, if you want to see all of the predictions that DMurph and I have, I will be posting this on the Discord server later. Again, check the show notes on the podcast, the audio version, the channel page on Twitch, and the video description on YouTube. So, Women's Battle Royal, we both have Asuka. Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, we both have Braun Strowman. Cruiserweight Championship match, we both have Buddy Murphy. Intercontinental Championship match, we both have Finn Balor over Bobby Lashley. Buddy Murphy over Tony Nese, by the way. Kurt Angle versus Baron Corbin, we both have Kurt Angle. Samoa Joe versus Rey Mysterio for the U.S. Championship, we both have Samoa Joe. And Adam Ripp pointed out a interesting point. Dominic, maybe he turns on Rey and becomes like a little bit of a heel, maybe like a heel sidekick to Samoa Joe. That'd be an interesting storyline. I'd be down for that. AJ Styles versus Randy Orton. DMurph has AJ Styles. I have Randy Orton. Fatal 4-way match for the Women's Tag Team Championships. DMurph has the Iconics. I have Sasha Banks and Bayley. The other teams involved are Beth Phoenix and Natalya, and Nia Jax and Tamina. Roman Reigns versus Drew McIntyre. DMurph and I both have Roman Reigns. Shane McMahon versus The Miz. DMurph has The Miz. I have Shane McMahon. Triple H versus Batista. That match, by the way, is Falls Count Anywhere. Triple H versus Batista, no holds barred match. If Triple H loses, his in-ring career is over. He has to retire. DMurph and I both have Triple H. Universal Championship match, we both have Seth Rollins defeating Brock Lesnar. WWE Championship match, we both have Kofi Kingston defeating Daniel Bryan. And Raw Women's Championship match, we both have Becky Lynch defeating Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. And there you have your predictions for WrestleMania and NXT TakeOver New York. But that's not it. We've still got quite a bit of wrestling news. There's some more announcements not involving matches at WrestleMania and some other stuff going on WrestleMania weekend. In addition to other stories, plus we got video games to talk about as well. So, in wrestling news, the final card for G1 Supercard has been revealed, which DMurph and I will not be doing predictions for, unfortunately. If you want us to do like side predictions that don't really like count towards like our championship, I'll talk to DMurph, see if maybe we can do some predictions. But we've got the card revealed. This is, by the way, the big show that ROH New Japan is throwing at Madison Square Garden on Saturday, the night before WrestleMania. And the card is a 30-entrant Honor Rumble match as the pre-show. Jushin Thunder Liger is the first announced participant. Nobody else has been announced as far as I know of right now. Then a Never Openweight Championship. Then we got Never Openweight Champion Will Ospreay taking on ROH TV Champion Jeff Cobb in a title versus title match. We've got Rush versus Dalton Castle. We got Mayu Iwatani versus Kelly Klein for the Women of Honor World Championship. Then we got Bully Ray is issuing a New York City Street Fight Open Challenge. Then we got Taiji Ishimori versus Dragon Lee versus Bandito in a triple threat match for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Then we've got Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, the IWGP Tag Champions, versus ROH Tag Champions PCO and Brody King versus the Briscoes versus Evil and Sonata in a fatal 4-way tag match, title for title. So whoever wins this match in the fatal 4-way will win both the IWGP and ROH Tag Team Championships. Then we've got Zack Sabre Jr. facing off against Hiroshi Tanahashi for the Rev Pro British Heavyweight Championship. Then we've got Tetsuya Naito versus Kota Ibushi for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. Then we've got Jay Lethal taking on Marty Scurll and Matt Taven in a triple threat ladder match for the ROH World Championship. And then we've got the big one, the main event. This should be good. Rematch from Wrestle Kingdom with a bigger prize on the line. Jay White versus Kazuchika Okada for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. That's a hell of a card. That is a hell of a card. I'm excited. I'm going to be in New York City Saturday, but I'm with my girlfriend. I don't think she wants me to buy tickets for G1 Supercard, if there are even any that could be gotten secondhand. So I'll probably have to watch that back whenever I get home from the city that day. But it's gonna be that's a hell of a card right there. It's gonna be a great weekend for wrestling with that happening on Saturday, TakeOver on Friday, and WrestleMania on Sunday. Oh man, just a weekend full of amazing wrestling. Then as we move on, I wanted to get into an update regarding the lawsuits being filed against Lucha Underground by a few wrestlers, including Joey Ryan. The 4 Lucha Underground wrestlers who did a class action lawsuit have been released as part of a settlement. This coming via Eric Mutter at Lucha Central. The article excerpt says, Lucha Central can report that the battle between the two sides is over, with Texano withdrawing his lawsuit, while a settlement has been reached between Baba G Productions / El Rey Network and Phantasma, Ivelisse, Joey Ryan, and Moon. those were the 4 superstars who, or wrestlers. They're not in WWE. The 4 wrestlers who did the class action lawsuit. While not all terms have been disclosed, the class action suit has been dropped with the agreement that all 4 wrestlers will be immediately released from their contracts, allowing them to be free agents immediately. Phantasma's separate lawsuit has also been dropped as part of the agreement. So this now frees up Joey Ryan. He's no longer tied to Lucha Underground. So you can potentially expect a Joey Ryan to AEW announcement coming soon. Possibly. Maybe. Perhaps. And speaking of AEW, see what I did there? See why I slipped that in there? It was a segue. AEW has partnered with CEO Fighting Game Championships for a special live wrestling show to take part at the event. This was via the latest episode of Being the Elite on YouTube. The first confirmed match, which came courtesy of Being the Elite, is a hardcore rematch of Michael Nakazawa and CEO organizer Alex Jabali. By the way, props to Being the Elite for getting the name Michael Nakazawa stuck in my mind thanks to the just repeated, I believe it's Matt Jackson, who's constantly hearing his name and having hallucinations and seeing him, not Nick. I keep forgetting which one's Matt and which one's Nick out of the Young Bucks, and that makes me a terrible wrestling fan and AEW fan. An Elite fan. A tweet from CEO itself regarding the show. This is at CEO Gaming on Twitter. Is, quote, as announced on this week's episode of #Being the Elite, at CEO Gaming is excited to bring you another live wrestling show with at AE Wrestling on Saturday, June 29th during #CEO 2019. More details to come. And that's it for the wrestling news. We got some wrestling quick hits before we get into gaming. Quite a few. Wrestling quick hits. Joan Jett, who is the original singer for Bad Reputation, the artist who made the song Bad Reputation, will perform it at WrestleMania 35 for Ronda Rousey's entrance for the main event of WrestleMania 35. Also, Grammy Award-winning gospel singer Yolanda Adams will be the one to perform America the Beautiful to kick off WrestleMania. That was via WWE. The Hart Foundation, not the entire stable, just Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Neidhart, the original tag team. So no Owen, no Brian Pillman, and no Jimmy Hart, have been in will join the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2019. That was revealed via Yahoo Sports. For those of you who are, Kenny Omega fans, which most wrestling fans are, a documentary based on Kenny Omega called Omega Man, A Wrestling Love Story, aired on TSN. I believe it aired last night. I had a chance to watch it, even though I'm not in Canada. Don't ask me how. If you dig deep enough, you might be able to find a way to watch it. But it was a really good documentary. I would definitely recommend it if you live in Canada or if you have the means to access and watch the documentary. Also, the Young Bucks versus Lucha Bros match at Double or Nothing has been confirmed to be for the AAA Tag Team Championships. That was confirmed when the Young Bucks were on Sci-Fi Wire, Sci-Fi Wire's show at C2E2, which the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega were attending, making appearances for. And for those who don't know, the Young Bucks recently showed up as surprise opponents at AAA and defeated the Lucha Bros for the AAA Tag Team Championships. Also, in further WWE news, JoJo announced via her Instagram account, which is at Josanne_Alexi, that she and Bray Wyatt are expecting a baby boy. They are naming him Nash, and they are due in June. So congratulations to JoJo and Bray Wyatt. She also mentioned that the two of them will return when they're ready. So there is a chance that maybe Bray Wyatt has now gone from waiting to have something good to go with to just being on paternity leave now, maybe. Or maybe they're just not going to put him out there if he's just going to go on paternity leave in June. So that might be why we haven't seen Bray Wyatt. Also, Jimmy Uso, the incident where he was arrested after getting into a confrontation with a police officer after he and Naomi were pulled over after a show for driving the wrong way down a road. That has been resolved. Jimmy Uso pleaded no contest to the recent arrest and has to pay a $450 fine. That came courtesy of TMZ Sports. And then the final news is unfortunate news. Flip Gordon, if you guys remember last week, I mentioned that he was finally cleared to return to the ring. He immediately re-injured his knee. It is believed to be a, quote, bucket handle meniscus tear, according to ROHWrestling.com, and it would keep him out for another 4 to 6 months. However, Flip Gordon is going to get an MRI to confirm if that's what it is. He had said on his Twitter that his knee had, quote, locked up on him. And with that, everybody, as my voice cracks when I say that, apologies to your ears, those on the audio version. We are switching from wrestling over to gaming. And the first bit I want to talk about in the gaming is a couple of new releases that came out this week. The first is one that I'm playing quite a bit of and enjoying thoroughly, as you all know from last night. It is MLB The Show 19, the latest baseball game made by Sony. Is it Santa? I think it's Santa Monica. I originally said San Diego, but I think it's Sony Santa Monica that makes MLB The Show. It could be Sony San Diego as well, or Sony San Diego. It's one of those two. Anyway, there's not a ton of reviews out, but there are some. So I'll read those off. These review roundups were created by myself. Traditionally, we get these from VG247, but they did not have one for MLB The Show 19 or for the other game that we're going to talk about right now. So the reviews right now for MLB The Show 19, IGN gives it an 8.7, Cheat Code Central 4.7 out of 5. Forbes gave it an 8.5 out of 10. Digital Trends gave it an 8. Screen Rant gave it a 4 out of 5, and Gaming Age gave it a 75. US Gamer also had a early review, which was before the online modes went on, so there was no online proponent reviewed here, so I took a quote because they didn't give a score. And the US Gamer review says, quote, this was Kat Bailey, I believe, who reviewed it. I don't have the names of the other reviewers that I'm going to quote here, but she says, it feels sharper and more polished than in years past, and its multitude of solo and multiplayer modes are a great example of how to make a sports sim feel rewarding and connected. I'm having a great time with it. I am fully enjoying it. I'm loving the March to October mode. I love the improvements to Road to the Show, the relationships, the personalities, the challenges. I haven't done a boss battle yet, but the boss battle, I'm looking forward to trying. I'm looking forward to playing the mini games that are involved there. That's going to be entertaining. It's a really good baseball game. If you guys love baseball games, if you love baseball, if you enjoy playing previous entries of MLB The Show, you should definitely pick up 19. It is a winner in my book so far from what I have played. The other game in the review roundup, which is one that I have not played and can't give my own personal thoughts on, is Yoshi's Crafted World on by Nintendo. By Good Feel Games, apparently. The reviews. VG247 doesn't give a score, so they said, it is the best adventure for Mario's Dinosaur Pal since the N64. Game Informer gave it an 8.25, that's out of 10. Telegraph a 4 out of 5. GameSpot an 8 out of 10. Twinfinite, 4 out of 5. Sixth Access, 8 out of 10. US Gamer, 4 out of 5. COG Connected, 8 out of 100. IGN, 7.8 out of 10. Destructoid, 7.5 out of 10. Games Radar, 3.5 out of 5. Eurogamer, Kotaku, and Polygon also have reviews, but didn't give a review score, so I'll read those off. Eurogamer says that the game is gentle and generous. Good Feel delivers its best game yet in this imaginative and breezy platformer. Kotaku says it's an imaginative game that's effortlessly pleasing, perfectly suited to family play, or as a train journey stress reliever. And Polygon says, by channeling Nintendo Labo's construction spirit into the long-standing conventions of a Yoshi game, Crafted Worlds carved out a similar work-play functionality. So it looks like Yoshi's Crafted World has been received well. Not an amazing Game of the Year type caliber game, but a very solid entry for the green dinosaur known as Yoshi. So if you're a Nintendo fan or a Yoshi fan, it seems like Yoshi's Crafted World is a good game to pick up. All right, let's get into the gaming news. We've got 4 stories to read off before we get to the quick hits and then get vamos out of here for the week. First story, and I know this sounds like it's not a real story, but believe me, it is for some reason. Sony has announced they will no longer be selling digital codes for PlayStation games at retailers. Any retailers. Like GameSpots? No. Walmarts? No. Amazon.com? No. No retailers will be able to stock digital codes for PlayStation games. You have to buy the physical copies now. This report was confirmed. Sony confirmed it to Eurogamer via Wesley Yin Poole of Eurogamer. And Sony gave a statement to Eurogamer and to Wesley and Poole. And the statement says from Sony, we can confirm that as of April 1st, 2019, Sony Interactive Entertainment will no longer offer full games through SIE's Global Digital at Retail program. This decision was made in order to continue to align key businesses globally. To support full games and premium editions, SIE will introduce increased denominations at select retailers. DLC, add-ons, virtual currency, and season passes will still be available. Now, this is what I don't understand. How does this align key businesses globally? Like, I would get it if you weren't doing any codes and you're thinking, well, if somebody buys a code from here, whatnot, confusion stuff. I don't know how those kind of intricacies work. That might be able to fool me, but you're still giving codes for DLC, add-ons, virtual currency, and season passes. Like, what is the full explanation of this? I just don't get it. Like, Sony, I don't know, with the cross-platform stuff and with this, like, I love Sony. I love all game makers. I want all game creators, hardware makers to be successful. But, like, what has Sony been doing over the last year with some of these decisions? I would probably be more open, be more like, okay, if they gave an explanation that made sense. But anyway, moving on, more PlayStation news and Sony. They showed their first State of Play show, which is basically their version of Nintendo Directs. They aired that this week, and they chose to focus heavily on VR games. So here we are with Sony making, again, questionable decisions. Everybody's thinking, oh, are we going to get announcements for, like, the hottest of hottest PlayStation titles or third-party games coming to PlayStation titles? No, it's just a lot of PSVR games, which... Granted, I've heard good things about PSVR, but it's not what you think when you think one of the big players in the gaming industry, one of the big three, doing their first, like, digital show to showcase what they have. Like, it's not what first comes to mind. So it's a weird flex, but okay. We got plenty of trailers for these VR games. The games that got announced and given trailers or had extra information given about them include Iron Man VR, Five Nights at Freddy's VR, Help Wanted, No Man's Sky VR, which that actually looks really good. I will say that much. Iron Man, Five Nights at Freddy's, maybe, but I don't want to have a heart attack. No Man's Sky looks really good. And Blood and Truth VR, that actually looks pretty interesting too. It's a spy kind of game. Those all got trailers. We did get 2 non-VR trailers at the show, though. That included Devolver Digital's sci-fi thriller Observation, which is about, I think you're the system AI of a space station, and there's only one surviving member of the crew left on the ship, and it's your mission to get this person, to get the space station to, like, this massive storm, I think on Jupiter or something, to observe it. So it's interesting. It's very interesting. I'm definitely would like to learn more about it as we get closer to the game's release. And the other trailer was an old school spelled with a K versus new school spelled with a K story trailer for Mortal Kombat 11 that revealed Jax, Liu Kang, and Kung Lao officially as members of the rosters, 3 favorites from Mortal Kombat games of old. It looks like what this showed off was more of the story, and it seems like the story of this is going to be that Mortal Kombat characters from, like, the original Mortal Kombat, Mortal Kombat 2, are going to interact with their modern day versions of themselves, and there's going to be clashes and shenanigans. So, okay, I'm interested in that. I don't know. I'm not a big fighting game person. I'm not great at fighting games, so I'm probably not going to pick the game up, but, like, I might watch the cutscenes for the story because it looks interesting and it's intriguing. Next bit of news, you could argue is the biggest bit of news of the week, is Borderlands 3 is finally coming after years and years and years and years of speculation that Gearbox might be working on Borderlands 3. I know 3 years ago, people were wondering when Gearbox was going to be doing Borderlands 3, and myself, Sean, and Austin got to go to Gearbox in Texas when WrestleMania was down there near Dallas to tour Gearbox, and we thought we might get, like, a sneak peek of, like, hey, or, like, a little nudge saying, like, hey, we're working on Borderlands 3. Nothing. Absolutely nothing from them. And then people were hoping to hear something for it, but 3 years later, it's finally happening. It's finally going to come out. The announcement came via Gearbox's PAX East 2019 panel, which I wish I was at PAX East. And they revealed the first gameplay trailer for Borderlands 3. It showed 4 new protagonists for players to choose from and play as, and also showed that there are some returning characters from previous games that will be NPCs, and that includes Lilith from Borderlands 1, Kincaid, Sir Hammerlock, Mordecai, who is one of the playable characters in Borderlands 2, Tiny Tina, and others. Yeah, and then there's more information coming. I believe Gearbox said April 3rd, more info is coming on Borderlands 3. So we won't have to wait long. We'll only have to wait, let's see, it's the 30th now. There's 31 days in March. So 31, 1, 2, 3. We only got to wait 4 more days. 3 more days if you're watching this on YouTube the day after. Or if you're watching this late, it might already be out. That extra information. And then the final bit of full news in gaming I want to get to is a bit of sad news, unfortunately. EA, in constantly trying to win the award of worst company in the United States, has announced that they have laid off 350 employees. This coming via Sharif Syed of VG247. And here's an excerpt from the article. This is the majority of the article because I felt like it was all important information. Basically breaking everything down. Quote says, EA has confirmed 350 layoffs as it, quote, prepares for opportunities ahead, end quote. EA CEO Andrew Wilson has revealed in a statement that the publisher is restructuring roles across marketing, publishing, and operations. EA is also reducing staff at its Russia and Japan offices. As a result of these changes, around 350 people will be losing their jobs. This is a difficult day, said Wilson in a statement. The statement continues, quote, these are important but very hard decisions, and we do not take them lightly. We are friends and colleagues at EA. We appreciate and value everyone's contributions, and we are doing everything we can to ensure we are looking after our people to help them through this period and find their next opportunity. This is our top priority. Great games will continue to be at the core of everything we do, and we are thinking very differently about how to amaze and inspire our players, end quote. If you were wondering why I had that gap in audio there while reading the quote, for those of you listening to the audio version, it's because I could not help. My eyes rolled themselves in the middle of that last line by Andrew Wilson, because I do not believe at all that EA cares about great games, because if they did, they wouldn't have released Anthem in the state it's in. They wouldn't have released Battlefront 2 in the state that it was in. They wouldn't have released Battlefield 5, whichever one it is, whichever number we're up to, in the state it was in. Those all got bad reviews when it came out, and they were all lauded as incomplete games. That is a BS statement. So why should I believe everything else that he says in this quote? It's unfortunate. There was no full reasoning given as to why the layoffs were happening. I know I've heard rumblings, but I don't want to like flat out say it and confirm that apparently EA has experienced record revenue or profit this year. So I don't understand why all these people got laid off. You're one of the biggest publishers. You make boatloads of cash. I mean, granted, Anthem didn't get received well. You're on the PR side, you look awful, but like, I don't know. I don't understand why they're laying off massive amounts of people like this. They should give a better reasoning than just, it's a tough decision, but we had to make it. Like it just said there that restructuring. They're restructuring and reducing staff. Why are you restructuring and why are you reducing staff? That's not a reason. That's part of what's happening. That's part of the action. That's not the reason for the action. So, I don't know. This is just, it's empty words to me from EA, and I'm just, makes me feel bad that I enjoy Apex Legends so much, because I almost don't want to just play any EA games. It's unfortunate that I'm a sports gaming fan, and that I like Apex Legends, because I almost don't want to support EA in almost any way whatsoever after this. But this is also why when it comes to EA games, if I have to spend money on the game, I do a wait-and-see approach almost all the time now. No exception to maybe Madden. Even then, maybe I'll probably play like a promo before that. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and I really hope that all of the people who were affected by these layoffs find work and find it quickly. So, unfortunately, brought a bit of a downer to the show, but let's wrap things up with some gaming quick hits. Speaking of EA and Apex Legends, Sheriff Syed reported, Sheriff Syed of VG247 reported that the Apex Legends page on PlayStation.com states that we will see one more legend and one more gun revealed by the end of Season 1 of Apex Legends. So, not just Octane, apparently one other player after Octane. So, that'll be intriguing and interesting. Also, Ubisoft has announced that has confirmed that its E3 2019 press conference is happening, and it will be occurring on Monday, June 10th at 4 p.m. ET. They announced that via their Twitter handle, which is @Ubisoft, and that's pretty standard for Ubisoft. Ubisoft always goes on Monday in the middle of the afternoon. The way that traditionally shows have gone for E3, from what I remember, was Bethesda on Sunday night, Microsoft Monday morning, then Ubisoft, then EA, then PlayStation, then in the morning Nintendo. Nintendo's doing something digitally, and unfortunately PlayStation isn't doing something Monday night. Then, speaking of E3, got some unfortunate news. People were hoping to hear something about either Elder Scrolls 6 or Starfield, the sci-fi game that Bethesda is working on, as the company revealed that via their Bethesda Game Days streams at PAX East 2019, that neither game will be at E3 2019. I'm not too shocked by that, because they basically were just showed a visual of environments and just said, hey, these games are happening. We might not see them until 2020. We might not even see them until 2021 again. But we just know that they're being worked on. They exist. And then the final little quick hit that I wanted to mention, that fans of The Division 2 will be happy to know that its latest patch fixed co-op scaling issues, reduced flickering, and distortion effects in menus. So also, for anybody who's heard that apparently The Division 2 has been having issues where if you're trying to play co-op with somebody and and somebody's trying to help level you up, but they're leveled much higher than you, it is very difficult for them to be able to help you get through it, because you're dying constantly. It can be done, but it's just a crappy experience for the person who's lower level. So Division 2 has hopefully fixed that. So if that was one of the things that was keeping you from getting The Division, now I have one more reason to actually buy The Division. And with that, everybody, that's going to do it for episode number 85 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Thank you to Adam Ritt for getting involved in the chat this week. Do not forget to get your predictions in at the Discord server. If you beat myself or DMurph, or if you have those proper, correct predictions, then all the other viewers, you will get a shout out in the WrestleMania 35 review episode of the podcast. So make sure you get your stuff in. I will be dropping DMurph and my predictions in almost immediately after this show is over. Do not forget, you can watch this stream, this podcast live on Twitch. Also, you can watch it on VOD on Twitch at twitch.tv/L_Murpho. You can watch the VOD as well on YouTube at youtube.com/LMurphoReal. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe over there on YouTube. Drop a follow on Twitch as well. You can listen to the audio version by searching Super Grapple Bros. You'll find it on pretty much every platform that podcast can be found. Apple Podcasts, SoundCloud, Google Play, Stitcher, Spotify, and more. Give it a look. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe. If we get more reviews, more people can see us, because we'll be officially rated and an officially reviewed podcast. So appreciate you guys if you dedicate a little bit of your time to do that for us. Again, sign up for the Discord server. The link is in the channel description on YouTube. Show notes and the audio version is on the channel page on Twitch. In addition to the viewer predictions, there's also a feedback channel. So if you want to give us any questions, comments, concerns, trivia, what have you, you can do that as well at the Discord server. You can also leave that feedback via email to us at supergrapplebros@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter. I am at L_Murpho. DMurph is at DMurph_42. We like to announce and let people know when we go live for streams. Plus, we like to send out random varying tweets of just our random thoughts and nonsense. So if you feel like some random entertainment from yours truly and the Brock Lesnar of the podcast, feel free to give us a follow over there. That's going to do it for episode 85 of the Super Grapple Bros podcast. And before we leave you, repetitive, I know, with what we always leave you with. I'm doing it intentionally now for the podcast. That is the Kayfabe News headline of the episode. And this WrestleMania edition of the Kayfabe News headline is: you can all feel a little easy and not be so worried about the Angle versus Baron Corbin match, because, as Kayfabe News reports, amid fan backlash, WWE changes Angle versus Corbin to a triple threat match with Sin Cara. Our prayers have been answered. Thank you all so much for listening and watching. Appreciate you all. I'm going to get out of here. Take care. We'll see you WrestleMania Sunday. WrestleMania. Catch y'all later. Peace, deuce, deuce, deuce. I'll see you later. Bye-bye now. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye.
Shut up and sit down.